In this demo, we'll set up PII data and review foundational features in Unity Catalog, such as the three-level namespace, the Catalog Explorer, inherited and explicit privileges, dynamic views, row filtering and column masking, tagging, discoverability, lineage, and AI-generated documentation. Welcome to the Securing Data in Unity Catalog demo. So let's start this demo by running the classroom setup. This will provide us with all the resources for this demo, including a catalog, a schema, and as well for tables for customers bronze and customer silver. Now let's validate that our notebook is under the right scope and using this catalog and schema combination by using the current catalog and current schema functions. Now let's set up some PII data. We're going to leverage the customers silver table. Here we have customer's ID, we got customer name, state, city, postcode. For these, the first way to protect your data is by leveraging a view. Here we're creating a customer's gold view with a subset of fields from customer silver. Here we are using customer ID, state, average unit purchase, and loyalty segment. Let's see some results of this. Here we got our customer ID or state, average units purchased, loyalty segment. Now let's review the Catalog Explorer. This is a very useful tool that allows users to browse, explore, and manage data assets such as schemas, tables, models, and functions within a data catalog. Now, here, along with the classroom setup, let's leverage the Databricks Academy object as well with the catalog name. This will provide us with the or assigned catalog name. Now, we want to see the Catalog Explorer using the third icon from top to bottom called Catalog. In here, we can see our catalog created as well for our schema, as well for the objects that we have created so far, including our gold view. Here we can open in Catalog Explorer. By the way, I already have it opened. From here, we have all the details for our view, such as AI suggested description or definition, or schema for this view. As well, we can check the data, so there is no need to open a notebook or use the SQL editor to see such results. From here, you can filter them or search. You can also see the details for this view, and as well, you can see the permissions. You have the list of principals, their assigned privileges, and the objects within. From here, you can also grant or revoke permissions if you have the right privileges to do so. Now let's continue with controlling access to data. Let's remember that Unity Catalog is additive, and for that means that we are working with a three-level namespace to access to our assets. In this cell, we're leveraging Python and as well with the Databricks Academy object along with the catalog name to create a select statement leveraging the three-level namespace. So the result, it is in here. We have our catalog, our schema, and our gold view. And as well, this next cell, it is leveraging the Spark context with a SQL function to execute that command so we can see the results for this gold view. Next, we have this select star from customer's gold view. But as you may notice, there is no three-level namespace. The main reason for that is because this notebook is using the scope for the set, catalog, and schema that Classroom Setup provided with us. So in here, it is not required to use the three-level namespace. If you want to access another object or asset from another catalog and schema, you need to use it. One important detail from the query that we just executed is that we can access this query because we are the owners, but any other user won't be able to access it. Here we can provide two options, inherited or explicit privileges. Starting with inherited privileges are from a catalog or schema level inherited downward, and using this feature makes it easy to set up default access rules for your data. Everything in one single statement. But you need to be aware for all the objects you want to provide access. Also, this applies to all the feature tables. In here, we have an example of how to achieve this from the catalog level, starting with a grant, use catalog, use a schema, and as well select on catalog, leveraging the variable that we just have created. This will be assigned to account users, that will be to all the users in the platform. You may notice that I already executed this cell and we have an exception for unauthorized access. Permission denied, user does not have the manage on this catalog. And this is very important because you may find this in your organization's environment. You may need perhaps to reach out to your platform admin to get access to your catalog. This is a common practice. In here, we can also execute a describe catalog leveraging our variable. Here we can see that the catalog name, the comment, and the owner is not us, so we cannot play around with this catalog. You can also check for all applied permissions on your objects. Here we got two options. We got the Catalog Explorer and the code. The Catalog Explorer, it's pretty much the same as I showed you earlier. Here you can go to your catalog and then open in Catalog Explorer. I already have it opening here. You may notice I have the principal and as well all the privileges. And please be aware when you apply all privileges, it applies all these privileges over here. So you have to be very careful when you provide all privileges to a group or to a specific user. Another alternative to check your code, it is using the syntax show grants principal with an optional on secureable object. Here we have an example. Here we apply show grants on a schema and then we provide the schema name. Here we can see our principal with all privileges provided on a catalog level. Here you can also apply it to a view. So here we have show grants on view, customers gold view, and pretty much see the same results. Now let's set up some explicit privileges. These explicit privileges are set directly to your object or asset. In here, in this example, we have two statements, one for a schema and one for a customer's gold view. Starting with the schema, we start with the grant, use the schema on, then we use the catalog name, and then we also add our schema to account users. That will be all our users in our platform. Then for the second grant, we are going to set grant, select on, view, then we use the three level names for our customers gold view to account users. We can also check privileges pretty much as we have done so far. We can use show grants on schema, that we provide the schema name. Here we can see account users. Here we can see on action type, use a schema on schema level. We can also check our customers gold view using show grants on view, and then we use the PII data and customers gold view. Here we can see all account users having select to this view. Here we have another example where we are showing show grants on the catalog, just to show you that we only apply privileges to the schema and to the customer's gold view, not to the catalog. Revoking privileges is pretty much the same as granting privileges. The only thing that changes is the keyword revoke. Here we have an example where we revoke usage on schema PII data from account users. As well, we have a revoke of or select on view for our customers gold view from account users. After executing this cell, we show the privileges again, once again, and we can see that now all account users are removed. Same for our customers gold view. Now let's protect columns and rows. As mentioned during the lecture, there are two approaches. We got the dynamic views and row filtering and column mask. In this demo, we're going to create a dynamic view called Customers Gold Dynamic View. And as well, we're going to create a Customers Silver with row filtering column mask tables. For this, we're going to leverage the Customer Silver table. Here is another snapshot of that data. As well, we are going to leverage the loyalty segment column for applying the row filtering. And you may notice here we have 4 of them, starting with 0 and finishing at number 3. As well, we want to show you that this customer silver, it has this amount of total rows. We're going to use this to compare between both approaches. and we'll see that we're going to get to the very same results. Let's start with dynamic views. These are an extension to a standard view that allows to partially obscure column values or redact them entirely, as well as omit rows based on a specific criteria. Here we're leveraging some building blocks that are also used in the row filter and column mask approach. These are the current user that returns the email address of the user querying the view, as well for is account group member that returns true if the user querying the view is a member of the specified group. Please be aware there is another function called isMember, but we support and encourage to use is account group member as it provides support with multiple workspaces. Here we have an example of this function. Select is account group member. Here we're passing by the supervisors group, which in this case, it doesn't exist. My lab user is not part of this group. Hence, the output of this select, it will be false. Now let's create a dynamic view. Here we want to redact customer ID column and as well hide the rows where loyalty segment are less than 3. In this scenario, we're going to create just a view, and we're going to call it Customers Goal Dynamic View. Here, we're going to start by running a select, and notice we're leveraging the Customer Silver table. And you may notice in this section for the Customer ID column, we're using a case when, and then leveraging this is account group member and asking if we are part of that supervisors group. Then if it is true, then we just return a customer ID. If it is false, then we are returning this redacted value. As well, you can apply this to all the columns that you need. And when you want to filter your view, then you just leverage the where section for this. In here, we're pretty much doing the same with using a case when is account group members, supervisors, then true, it will return all rows. Else, loyalty segment is less than 3. And here we're also doing a group by for customer ID, state, and loyalty segment. Now let's check those results. In here, you may notice that we're doing a select star from customer's goal dynamic view ordered by loyalty segment descendant. First, let's check the customer ID. You may notice that since we're not part of the supervisors group, then we are not able to see the customer's ID, and we are getting this obfuscated or redacted value. We also have the loyalty segment. It is order. Now it is showing only the values below 2. And let's check again that here a select count to total rows in this view. Now we have this amount of rows. The next approach is using row filters and column mask. This approach is pretty straightforward because you leverage your table and then you append a function as a row filter, or for the column mask, append multiple tables each to one of your columns. So let's start with a row filter. Let's create one of those. And here we also have is account group member because we're going to leverage that as mentioned earlier. We're going to start by creating that function called loyalty row filter. So we're going to drop it first and we're going to create this function. And here we're passing the first parameter. It will be a loyalty segment. That will be our column. Here we're indicating that this function will return true or false. And then in this row, we're leveraging the if function from SQL. And we're evaluating this is account group member. If it is true, then just return true, meaning that it's going to return all rows. But if it is false, then it's going to filter by using the loyalty segment for values that are less than 3. After we create this function, then we want to create our table. As mentioned earlier, we're going to create this table. We're going to select customer ID, state, average units purchased, loyalty from customer silver and group by customer ID, state, loyal segment, as well ordered by customer ID. Then we want to check the total amount, which is the same amount that we have shown earlier. Now we are going to proceed to attach our function to our table. So we do that by using the syntax of alter table, then we use our table name, then we use the keyword set row filter, and we use the name of our function on loyalty segment. And here you can pass one column or all the columns you need to use to apply your filter. Then you can also check your table using describe extended and then going through the end in here. Then you have another row that is called row filter, and you may see that there is the 3-level namespace called to that function on the loyalty segment column. And then we can also run a select distinct to loyalty segment into this table now with the row filter applied, and we can see that effectively has removed the loyalty segment with value of 3, just showing 3 of them. And again, here we can see the results for this case. It will be into customer silver with row filter and column mask. Here we have account where we get the same results as with dynamic views. Now let's continue with a column mask. In here, we're going to follow the similar approach as the previous one. We're going to drop a function and we're called redact customer ID. We're going to recreate it. We're going to pass the customer ID as it is the one that we want to protect. And then we're going to return and leverage the case syntax when it's account group members, I am part of that supervisors group. If I am, then it's going to return the customer ID. If not, then it's going to return this value. Remember, you can configure this as per your requirements. And after our function is created, then we are going to alter the table and then attach it to the column by doing alter column and then using the keyword set mask redact customer ID function. And then you can also apply a describe extended to your table, and then at the very end there will be a new section called column mask applied to your column and targeting to this function. Let's check some of the results from this table. Notice that here we're doing a select star, order by loyalty segment as descendant. And after applying the row filter and column mask into the customer ID, we cannot see the real value behind. We see this value return just because we're not part of the supervisors group. As well, we can see that some of the rows have been filtered, specifically those with loyalty segment equals 3. Now, in this cell, as I mentioned, these two approaches can get you the very same results. And this is a way to prove it. Here we're doing a count on the table and a count on the view. And basically, we get the same results. But still, there are some items that you need to consider when working with dynamic views and row filters. When you are working with dynamic views, that means that you are creating another asset on top of your table that you need to manage. Then you also need to consider the different permutations of the row and the different columns that you want to protect to serve to the different stakeholders that will consume this view. With the row filters, it is easier because you have one single object that will be your table, and then you append your functions to filter rows and to all the columns that you need to specify or protect. So take that in consideration. For tagging, these are key value pairs and it can be applied to a catalog, a schema, tables, columns, volumes, views, and registered models. These are great to organize and categorize your assets. You can apply tags using code. For the customer silver example, we can use alter table, customer silver, then use the keyword set tags, and then again you set your key value pairs. In this case, you are setting quality as silver and domain as a customer. That way you don't have to fall back to the name of your table to know in what part of the medallion architecture they belong to. You can also apply column tags and following the alter table, customer silver, then alter column, then you specify your column, then use the keyword set tags. In this case, we're setting it for compliance equals as GDPR. You can also set them via UI in the Catalog Explorer. In this case, if we go to the customer silver, here, customer silver, now we can see our tags that we have set in code. And as well, this is great for discoverability because here we can leverage the search bar, this powerful search bar. It allows you to search all the assets in your reach. And by reach, I mean where you have all the permissions to access these assets. In this case, here we're going to leverage this cell over here that it will create a baseline for a catalog. Here you can use catalog, then column, and then you can set your catalog name or domain. Also leverage your tags as well. So I'm going to copy over this value over here. And then I'm going to use this other tab to run that search. And then pretty easy, we can see our catalog and then as well our tag for domain customer users, and we get our customer silver table. As well, you can run queries into your information schema. Here we have multiple tables such as the table tags, catalog tags, schema tabs, column tags, and volume tags. Here I'm showing you the results for that table tags. We're filtering with customer silver and we get to see that those tags that we have added. As for lineage, it's very important to understand where your data is coming from and where your data is heading. In here, we can use the catalog explorer for the customer silver table. Here you may notice that we have plenty of filters, and then here you can see all the dependencies to this table. Here we have the concepts. We have the upstream, which means where the data is coming. And then the downstream is actually who is actually consuming this data from this table. So here we also have the option to see lineage graph. And here we have a visual representation for our customer silver is coming from DB Academy _ retail customers table. And then you can also see that our customers gold dynamic view. We can also see for the table for the customer silver with row filter and column mask, and as well the original customers gold view that we created previously. Be aware that you can also look lineage on column level. As well, we also have AI generated documentation. So in here, we can go to the overview, and then you may notice automatically Databricks identifies that there is a missing description and it suggests one. In here, it's very important for you to accept or edit, where you can even shorten your text or translate it. In this case, I'm just going to accept it. And as well, it allows you to comment all your columns, which we know that this represents plenty of work. Here we're leveraging the LLM or Databricks IQ to read your table and add proper comments for all of them. Here it is important for you to also accept them. So you have a customer ID and it mentions unique identifier for each customer, allowing easy reference and tracking. Here you can run any adjustment or keep accepting all of them. Finally, we also have the Insights tab, where you can actually see all the events to your table and see how popular your table is. Here you can see the frequent users, frequent dashboards, frequent notebooks. Here we can see it refers to the notebook we have been working in this demo. And we can see as well the amount of queries applied to your table.